The activity we chose to do is called Emoji Quest Express Yourself in Action, which is basically a role play that will be conducted by students in groups. This activity will challenge the students' creativity in terms of imagination and promote good teamwork. In this activity, students will be divided and seated according to their groups. Next, the teacher will be providing printed emojis to the students, and each group will have to choose and keep the emojis that they want. The rule is the students have to act out a short role play that relates to traveling according to the emojis they picked out. The goal of this activity is to encourage students in solving travel-related problems. This will enhance their ability to think critically, especially in responding to other people when conversing. The next goal is to develop improvements in students' ability to construct coherent and captivating narratives. Encouraging them to speak spontaneously in English, despite of their level of proficiency in the language, is a good step to take, which will also increase their self-confidence. Here is an example. Take a look at these emojis. We have an airplane landing, a washroom symbol, a key, an information symbol, a chef, and an ice cream. So using these emojis, the students can make up a scenario that is being set in an airport. In this scenario, students can be characterized as a traveler, an airport information assistant, a restaurant worker, and another traveler. The flow of the roleplay will be like this. Traveler 1 is on her way to the washroom after her plane landed. After she finished her business, she goes to the sink area and washes her hands. In her right, she notices a key. She then takes the key to the information counter across the washroom and reports to airport information assistant about the accidentally left behind key she found. The airport information assistant then make an announcement about the key. After that, there comes a restaurant worker along with another traveler, which is Traveler 2, who is the owner of the key. Traveler 2 cannot find the information counter because the airport is big and super crowded, and she is also in a state of panic since she had lost her key. Therefore, she decides to ask the waiter at the restaurant she was eating at to assist her in finding the information counter. Then, after the Traveler 2 gets her key back, she offers Traveler 1 to have a lunch with her as a token of appreciation. The end. So that is just an example of a scenario that students can act out. Here are more examples of emojis the students can use for their role play activity.
For this subject, we will focus on listening and speaking skills. The theme for our lesson is traveling. We will conduct this lesson for 1 hour and 30 minutes. The learning standard for listening is that in a range of settings such as classroom lessons, stories, and informational presentations, students should be able to actively listen to and comprehend the content being addressed. For speaking, students should be able to deliver their experience and ideas and provide pertinent details in response to questions given by the instructor. The learning objectives for this lesson are: by the end of the lesson, students are expected to have the ability to work on their critical listening abilities and their ability to determine between facts and opinions in spoken language. Also, particularly in the speaking skills, students will practice conveying their ideas briefly in a fluent manner. For pre-tasks, the teacher will inquire as to whether the student has prior travel experience. The teacher will invite the students to talk about the locations, cuisines, and customs they experience while traveling.
This is your
Play a
airport
video for the
tutorial for
students
your
that
first
depicts
flight.
things
So
they
let's
will do
start
on the
step by
way.
step.
For
First of
example,
all,
at the
arrive
airport,
2 or better
and ask
3
them to
hours before
identify
departure
any
at the
patterns
airport.
in the action
You need to check
shown.
in for your flight and you can do
Play
it
a
online
video for
or
the
at the
students
airline
that
desk,
depicts
where you
things they
also
will
check
do on
in
the
your
way.
baggage.
For
If you
example,
only
at
have
the
carry-on
airport,
baggage,
and
do
ask
it
them
at the
to
self
identify
check-in
any
machine.
patterns in the action shown.
And after that,
Play
go
a video
through
for
the
the students
security
that
check.
depicts things they will do on the way. For example, at the airport.
Then
And
walk
ask
around
them
the
to
duty-free
identify
zone.
any
You have to
patterns
find
in the
your
action
gate. The
shown.
number will already be
Play
printed
a
on
video
your
for the
boarding pass.
students that depicts things they
Check
will do
the
on
flight
the way.
departure
For
screens
example,
for
at the
updates
airport.
because your
And
gate
ask
number
them
can
to
change.
identify any patterns in the action shown. Play
The
a
last
video
step
for the
before
students that
takeoff
depicts
is to
things
find
they
your
will do
seat.
on the way. For example, at the airport, and ask them to identify any patterns in the action shown. Play a video for the students that depicts things they will do on the
After
way.
that, you
For
can
example,
enjoy a very
at the
relaxed
airport,
flight to
and
your
ask them
destination.
to identify any patterns in the action shown. Play a video for the students that depicts things they will do on the way. For example, at the airport, and ask them to identify any patterns in the action shown. Play a video for the students that depicts things they will do
So
on
when
the
you
way.
arrive,
For
follow
example,
the baggage
at the
reclaim
airport,
signs
and ask
at
them
the
to
airport.
identify
Then
any
go through
patterns
the
in
customs
action
and
shown.
passport control.
Play
In the lesson development or during lesson, students will be divided into groups, and each group will consist of 4 to 5 members. In the emoji quest Express Yourself in Action activity, the teacher will put a bunch of random printed emojis on a table, and each group will have to pick as many printed emojis as they want. And by using the printed emojis they selected, students will act out or conduct a role play about traveling.
For post-lesson, the teacher will set aside a little piece of paper for the students to write their reflections after the lecture. Writing a summary based on the lesson they have learned will be required for the students. Finally, the teacher may also inquire about the future destinations or places they want to travel and reasons for those choices made by the students. This certainly will show and identify whether or not the students understand the material being taught. By asking these questions by the end of the class will not only help the students expand their vocabulary, but also give them confidence in their ability to speak on the theme of traveling and related issues. Other themes can also use the same exercises.
Hello everyone, I'll be explaining the rationale behind our activity and highlight how it aligns with CLT principles. First of all is real communication scenarios. In CLT, it stresses the importance of exposing learners to real communication scenarios. The emoji quest with a traveling theme that our group decided to do creates a context where students engage in meaningful communication. They may use emojis to convey information about travel experiences, share opinions, and plan hypothetical journeys. Next is interactive and collaborative learning. In CLT, it encourages interactive and collaborative learning. The emoji quest activity can involve collaboration among students as they work together and create emoji messages related to travel. This collaborative approach fosters communication and teamwork aligning with the CLT principles. Besides that, CLT promotes a student-centered approach where learners actively participate in the learning process. The Emoji Quest activity engages students in a creative and interactive way, allowing them to take the lead in dis- deciphering and creating emoji messages related to travel. This student-driven activity enhances motivation and involvement. Next is, as we all know, authentic language use is a fundamental aspect in CLT. So, the emoji quiz activity within a traveling team encourage students to use language authentically to describe travel experiences, express preferences, and communicate plans. This authenticity enhances the relevance of language learning. At last but not least, CLT supports the integration of language skills. The emoji quest can involve listening to the instructions of fellow students' presentations and speaking, for example, when explaining or discussing travel scenarios. So, by incorporating a traveling theme into the emoji quest, teachers can leverage the appeal of emojis to create a language-rich and culturally engaging learning experiences that aligns with the principles of CLT. So, this approach promotes meaningful communication, collaboration, and the integration of language skills within a contextually relevant and enjoyable framework.